I didn't go to Thailand looking for love. I went because I didn't have much left. A bad divorce, a heart scare, and a pension that barely made it through the month. I was tired, not just in my bones, but in my soul. Then she smiled at me across that night market in Chiang Mai, and I swear something lit up in me. It wasn't lust. It wasn't even hope yet. Just a flicker. I didn't trust it at first. I'd heard the stories. Old guys like me getting played, losing everything to sweet talk and soft hands. But this one was different. She didn't ask for anything. She just listened. She didn't lean in, didn't flatter, didn't touch me once. She just looked me in the eye and asked, "Why you look so sad?" And somehow, for the first time in years, I believed I was worth loving. Not for money, not for a visa, but for me. The lanterns floated like stars above the river, and the glow made her face look soft, younger somehow, though she was already half my age. She leaned into me, her hand resting over mine, and whispered, "Make a wish." I didn't say anything. I couldn't. I was looking at her lips, but I was thinking about everything I'd lost, my marriage, my health, my kids who barely called anymore. Then she kissed me, gentle, not rushed, not hungry, just a quiet moment I wasn't sure I deserved. I looked around at all the couples, the fireworks in the sky, and said, "This doesn't feel real." She smiled. "It's real. You hear, I hear. That's real." I tried to laugh, but it caught in my throat. "You don't want anything from me. You're not waiting to ask me for a new phone or a visa or something." She tilted her head. "Why you say like that?" I shook my head. "Forget it. I've just heard things, that's all." She squeezed my hand and said, "I not want thing, I want you smile." I didn't know how to answer that. I hadn't smiled without effort in years. I stared at the lantern we'd released together. It floated higher than the others, and for some reason that gave me a strange kind of peace. "I don't know what you see in me," I said quietly. "I see kind man, sad eyes, honest heart." She was still holding my hand. I didn't know if I should believe her, but I wanted to. I wanted it so bad it hurt. "You know I'm older than your father, right?" I said. She chuckled. "Maybe, but you nicer." I let out a shaky breath and said, "I think I'm falling for you." She didn't answer. She just leaned her head on my shoulder. I kept staring at the lanterns, afraid of what she'd say next, but she didn't say anything. She just sat with me, like that was enough. And maybe it was. Maybe for the first time in my life, I didn't need a promise or a plan. I just needed that moment. Her warmth. Her silence. Her fingers brushing mine as if to say, "It's okay." I looked down at her, heart thudding, and asked, "What if I mess this up?" She looked up and said, "Then we try again." And for some reason, that was the moment I knew I was already in too deep. The road to her village was narrow, lined with trees that looked older than I was. She sat beside me in the song thau, humming something soft, while I tried not to think about the sweat trickling down my back. When we pulled up, a dozen eyes were already on me. Kids, old women, a few men with arms crossed. She reached for my hand and said, "No worry, they just never see foreigner before." Her mother stepped forward and hugged me before I could react. "You tall," she said with a grin, and I laughed, awkward and off balance. Inside the small wooden house, the air smelled like garlic, lemongrass, and wood smoke. Her mom handed me a bowl of green curry and pointed to the rice. "Eat, eat," she said. I nodded. "Thank you, looks amazing." Then came the uncle with the plastic jug. "You drink," he said, pouring a shot of something that smelled like jet fuel. I raised the glass, swallowed, coughed so hard I thought I might pass out. He laughed and slapped my back. Strong man. The whole room laughed with him. I smiled, but something in me tightened. The eyes kept watching. The questions came in Thai, too fast for me to follow. She translated bits. "They ask if you rich." I frowned. "What did you say?" She smiled, shrugged. "I say no, you just kind." I stared at her. You sure that's enough for them? She reached over and squeezed my knee. Enough for me. I tried to believe that. Later, outside, I offered her some money. For your mom, the food, the gas. She pulled her hand back. No, I pressed. It's nothing, just a little help. She shook her head. No need. You my guest, not ATM. That word hit harder than I expected. You sure? I asked again. Yes. I don't want you think I with you for money. I studied her face. Then why are you with me? She didn't flinch. Because you listen, because you respect me. That's more than many Thai man. Still, I felt the weight of all those stares from earlier. Do they want us to get married? I asked. They want me happy, she said, but some maybe hope you help. She was honest. That should have calmed me, but it didn't. That night we slept in a spare room with a fan that barely turned. I lay awake, watching the ceiling spin. She whispered, You quiet. You okay? I turned toward her. Just thinking. Wondering if I'm doing the right thing. She ran her fingers along my arm. You think too much. Just feel. I wanted to do that. I wanted to believe that love could exist without strings, without expectations. But I'd heard the stories, men like me being drained until they had nothing left. Still, she hadn't asked for a baht. Not once, not when I offered, not even now. You'd tell me if you needed help, right? I asked. Yes, she said, but not now. Now just sleep. Be with me. I wrapped my arm around her and closed my eyes. But sleep didn't come easy. Somewhere in my chest the hope was still there, but now it had a shadow, and I wasn't sure if it was my own past haunting me or something waiting just beyond her smile. I saw them just after breakfast. She was standing outside the little internet cafe near the temple, her head tilted, laughing. The guy was maybe 30, dressed in a tight black t-shirt, one hand resting on his motorbike like he owned the whole street. They didn't see me. I stood behind a tuk-tuk, watching like a damn fool. He leaned in, said something close to her ear. She touched his arm. It wasn't long, maybe 10 seconds, but it felt like hours. When I stepped into view, she turned fast. Hey, she said, walking over. You come walk? I nodded, pretending like my stomach hadn't just dropped. Who's your friend? I asked. She looked back casually. Oh, just friend from school. Long time no see. I gave her a smile I didn't feel. You two seemed close. She raised an eyebrow. You jealous? I tried to laugh. No, just curious. He looked like he knew you well. She shrugged. Before, long time. Now just talk. We walked the rest of the way in silence. My hand brushed hers, but she didn't take it. That night I couldn't stop thinking about it. The way she laughed, the way he leaned in. I told myself I was being stupid, but my chest was tight and I couldn't sleep. When she went into the shower, I picked up her phone. My fingers trembled. No messages from him, nothing weird. Just her mom, her cousin, a few messages in Thai I couldn't read. I put it back exactly where I found it. I felt sick, like I'd broken something that wasn't even mine. The next night we were in bed. She rolled over slowly. You touched my phone yesterday? My heart froze. What? She didn't repeat it, just stared. I hesitated. Yeah, I said. I was stupid. I was worried. She didn't move. You don't trust me? I sat up. It's not about you, it's about me. I've been burned before. She looked at the ceiling. I not your past. I different. I rubbed my face. I know, seeing you with that guy, it messed with my head. She whispered, So I cannot have friend? You can, I said. Of course you can. But I didn't know who he was. You looked happy, happier than with me. Her voice was quiet. Maybe because he not look at me like prison guard. That stung. I don't mean to make you feel caged. She cut me off. You afraid. Always afraid. Of what? That I lie? That I go away? I didn't answer. I couldn't. Because the answer was yes. I was afraid. I was afraid she'd leave. That she already had someone, younger, stronger, someone who didn't need blood pressure pills or limp in the rain. "I'm scared of losing you," I finally said. She sighed. "Then don't push me away." She turned her back to me. I lay there staring at the ceiling, hearing her breath go steady. I didn't sleep. I kept thinking about how easily that man made her laugh, and how tightly I was holding on to something I still didn't know how to trust. It started with a cramp in my stomach and ended with me folded over a bucket in the corner of our tiny apartment, sweating through my shirt and shaking like I'd been dropped in ice water. She knelt beside me, wiped my face with a wet towel, and said, "We go clinic, now." I tried to wave her off. "It's just something I ate." She didn't argue. She helped me up, got me dressed, flagged a tuk-tuk, and didn't let go of my hand the whole ride. At the clinic, I sat slumped on a plastic chair while she filled out the forms. I could barely see straight. Hours passed. 5, maybe 6. I drifted in and out. Each time I opened my eyes, she was there. No phone, no complaints, just watching me, waiting. When they finally took me in, she walked beside the stretcher, whispering, "You okay, you strong." They gave me fluids, checked my blood, asked questions I didn't have the strength to answer. She answered for me. No allergy. Yes, stomach pain. Yes, vomit. The doctor said food poisoning, maybe from the chicken satay I'd eaten the day before. "He need rest," he said. 3 days, maybe 4. She nodded. "I stay with him." The nurse hesitated. She pressed her hands together. "Please." They let her. That night, I woke up to her brushing my forehead with her fingers. "You feel better?" she whispered. "Like I got hit by a truck," I croaked. She smiled. "Then you alive." She fed me spoonfuls of rice porridge, sat beside me while I drifted off again. I don't remember much of the next 2 days, just her voice, soft and steady. "Drink more, no scratch. Doctors say walk little." I must have asked her why she was still there. I must have said something, because I remember her replying, "You not alone, I with you." I cried. I didn't mean to, it just came out. Big, stupid tears. She held my hand tighter. "I take care. Don't worry." When I was strong enough to walk, she brought me home. She helped me bathe. I told her I could do it myself, but she said, "I not shy. You don't be shy." She washed my back, dried my feet, helped me into clean clothes. Then she sat on the bed, patting the spot beside her. I sat. I looked at her, really looked at her, and said, "No one's ever cared for me like that, not even my wife." She didn't say anything, just looked down at my hand in hers. "I love you," I said. My heart was pounding. She turned to me, leaned in, kissed my forehead, and whispered, "Don't die yet. I still need you." I laughed, weak and raspy, but real. That night, I slept better than I had in years. Her arm over my chest, her breath against my neck. I realized then it wasn't about what she said. It was what she did. She stayed. When I was sick, scared, and useless, she stayed, and that said more than any love song or sweet promise ever could. I stood in the middle of my living room in Montana, looking at the stacks of books, the worn recliner, the faded photos on the walls, and thought, none of this means anything without her. I picked up the phone. "I'm staying," I told her. "I'm not going back." There was silence on the line. Then she said, "You sure?" I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. "Yeah. I'm done with waiting. I don't want to waste what time I've got left." She didn't speak for a second, then said quietly, "Okay, but we not rush. We find simple place." I sold the truck, broke the lease, packed 3 boxes, books, a few clothes, old pictures of my kids when they still smiled at me. When I landed back in Chiang Mai, she was waiting at the airport. No sign, no balloons. Just her. "You look tired," she said. "I'm 71, I said. "Tired is my natural state." She laughed and took my hand. "Come, I show house." We rode a tuk-tuk out past the moat, down a cracked road with rice paddies on one side and banana trees on the other. The house was small, One bedroom, faded paint, a rusty fan in the corner, but it smelled like lemongrass and fresh floors. "You okay?" she asked, watching me look around. I nodded. "It's perfect," she opened the window and pointed. "Neighbor has chicken. You like eggs?" I chuckled. I like quiet more. That night, I sat on the little front step with her and watched the sky darken. "This doesn't scare you?" I asked. "Me. All in. No backup plan." She shook her head. "You brave." I didn't feel brave. I felt exposed, stripped of everything I'd built and protected back home. But I also felt light. "No one's waiting for me back there," I said. "Just a cold apartment and bills." She leaned her head on my shoulder. "Here, not always easy, but not lonely." That line stuck with me. Not easy, but not lonely. That's what I'd been chasing without knowing it. "We'll figure it out," I said, "together." She looked up at me. "We old and young, same time." "What do you mean?" I asked. "You old body, I old heart. So we match." I laughed, pulling her close. That might be the most romantic thing anyone's ever said to me, and I meant it. I gave up everything I knew to be here. But in that moment, with her beside me, I didn't feel like I'd lost anything. I felt like I'd finally arrived. We didn't have a wedding. No suit, no cake, no ceremony with rows of chairs and white roses. When I asked her about it, she shook her head and said, "I don't want big party. I don't believe paper mean love." I stared at her for a while and said, "So, no marriage?" She smiled. "No ring, no dress, just heart." I sat with that. Part of me wanted to protest, to hold on to something familiar, but the truth was, I didn't need proof anymore. I'd had the certificate before. I'd had the vows. I'd also had the divorce papers. This time, I just wanted peace. So we went to her village, just the two of us, her mom and a monk in orange robes who spoke slow Thai I barely understood. She placed jasmine flowers on a bamboo mat. Her mother cried quietly behind us. I knelt beside her, palms pressed together, and listened to the soft chants. The air smelled like incense and earth. She turned to me once during the blessing and whispered, "You okay?" I nodded. Better than okay. Afterward, her uncle gave me a bowl of rice and patted my back. "Now you family." I didn't need anyone else to hear it. That was enough. On the way home, I reached for her hand and asked, "You sure you don't want anything more?" She shook her head. "This already more." That night, lying in our little house with a fan creaking overhead, she curled against me and rested her head on my chest. I kissed the top of her hair and said, "Feels real now." She looked up at me, eyes soft. "You home now?" I pulled her closer and let the quiet settle in. No papers, no pastor. Just two people who chose each other, and for once, that was more than enough. It's been 2 years. 2 whole years since I gave up my apartment, my truck, and the last scraps of whatever retirement plan I had left. And not once has she asked for anything. No gold necklace, no visa, no emergency loan for a cousin I've never met. She opened a little nail shop near the night market, just 4 chairs, 2 fans, and a smile that pulls in more customers than any sign ever could. I help her with the books. Numbers always made sense to me, even when life didn't. Some days we argue, usually about nothing. "You spend too much for coffee," she says. "It's 60 baht," I reply. "You drink 3, she snaps back. Then she grins, kisses my cheek, and says, "You lucky I love old man. I never win those fights, but I've stopped trying. What matters is we never go to bed angry." She never raises her voice, never disappears for hours, never lies. That's what still amazes me. After everything I've seen, everything I've heard from guys back home, losing their pensions, their homes, their pride, I somehow ended up with the one who just wanted peace. Sometimes, late at night, I catch her watching me. She thinks I don't see it, but I do. Her eyes get soft, like she's memorizing something. Like I'm something. I ask her once, "Why do you look at me like that?" She shrugs. "You real, you stay." I sit with that for a long time. So many people didn't. She nods. But you different. I didn't think I'd find love again. Honestly, I didn't even want it. I thought love would just hurt again, that it would take more than it gave. But this is different. I laugh now. I didn't for a long time. I walk slower, sure, but I walk every day. Through the swaths near our place, past fruit stands and stray dogs and monks collecting alms. People know me here. I'm not a tourist anymore. I'm not a stranger passing through. I'm just a man who found something real when I thought it was too late. I write my son once a week now. I used to be afraid of silence. But he replies sometimes. Sends photos of the grandkids. I show her and she smiles like they're her own. She tells me, "You good father, they come back." I don't know if they will. But for the first time, I don't need them to fill the hole, because she did. Quietly, patiently, without asking, just by staying, just by seeing me. And every day I wake up beside her, I still think, how the hell did I get this lucky? Some mornings I sit on the porch before the sun rises and just listen. The roosters, the distant motorbikes, the quiet shuffle of monks in orange robes. It's peaceful. Too peaceful to feel like the end of anything. But I think about it. I think about how close I am to the finish line. My heart's not what it used to be. My legs ache in ways I can't explain. I've written the letters, one to each of my kids, simple, no guilt, just truth. I told them I loved them. I told them I forgave them. I left instructions for her, too, where the documents are, who to call, what not to pay. She saw the envelope once and frowned. "Stop being old," she said. "You not die yet." I smiled and told her, "But someday I will. And I don't want you to be lost." She didn't reply, just folded the paper and put it back in the drawer. I know she hates talking about it, but I've made peace. I don't need more years. I just need the right ones. And these years with her, have been the right ones. "You still happy with me?" I asked her the other night. She rolled her eyes. "You ask again?" I nodded, just making sure. She put her hand on my chest. "You breathe. I happy. I don't fear death anymore. I've had more love in these few years than I had in 3 decades of marriage. No lies, no games, no begging to be seen. Just her. Just this. If this is where it ends, Chiang Mai in a house with thin walls and a broken fan, then I'm lucky. I didn't get used. I didn't get tricked. I got to be loved by someone who looked past my wrinkles, past my limp, past my bad days, and saw something worth staying for. And if there's anything after this life, I hope it feels like her hand on mine when I can't sleep, like her voice telling me, "Don't go yet." But when I do, I'll be ready. I'll go with her name in my heart and the smell of jasmine in the air, and I'll go grateful, because I got to matter. I got to love, and for once in my life, I didn't feel alone.